Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Apolla's Odyssey. I'm your host, Apolla Asteria, and tonight is my first show that is streamed also on Aftermath FM. So anyone that's listening on Aftermath right now, thanks for joining in on my show. It's really good to be on this amazing platform, and I'm so excited to be a part of it with the likes of many other amazing radio hosts, which I have known for quite a while, and I'm excited to be on this platform. It's going to be really great. So, it's good to be here. It's good to be here, definitely. So before I get into tonight's show, I'm going to be interviewing Cathleena Hailley, who I just met at Camp Disclosure in Helen, Georgia. And that was an amazing event in Georgia last weekend not last weekend, but the weekend before at Unicoi State Park. I really enjoyed that event, met some amazing women, and I spoke there, hosted a panel, and we had a really good time. It was really incredible. Definitely a very transformative experience for me and a lot of people involved. So before I get into tonight's show, I want to go ahead and promote my art to all of you out there. And to everyone joining me on the radio, please go ahead and check out my YouTube show also. Apolla's Odyssey is also on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to me. And if you want to help keep my show going, as of right now, I don't have any sponsors for my show. So I am promoting everything with my art is what's funding my show. My art are actually Shaman Spears, which are uniquely handcrafted energy channeling devices, which I invented myself. They're basically like a mix between wands and spears. They all have copper coils, crystals, magnets, and sand to collect from sacred places around the world down the insides because the bamboo is hollow. So pretty interesting stuff. I actually get quartz from Crystal Hill and Joshua Tree, which is right next to Giant Rock, which is a very interesting place. It's actually on the intersection of the same ley line as the Pyramid of Giza and the 33rd ley line. So very interesting place. All these spears I have right now, I'll ship them all out next day, which is pretty cool. I mean, I literally do next day shipping on all orders. And this whole collection is actually going to be at the Conscious Life Expo. So I'm going to get into that in a minute here. Also, I have these amazing feather headdresses and some I Believe in Humans t-shirts, which also promote my YouTube show. And it has my YouTube show logo on the back. I guess I shouldn't say YouTube show anymore. My radio show, just my show. It's my show. So definitely check that out, and some Organite creations I've made myself, and you can find that all on www.shamanspears.com. Again, that's www.shamanspears.com. So please make sure you go check that out. And also, my birthday is coming up on Friday. So if you want to give me a early birthday present, just go ahead and purchase my art. It really helps me out, and it would be much appreciated. Okay, so also, I want to let you all know that I will be speaking at the LA Conscious Life Expo the weekend of the 17th, which is not this coming weekend, but next weekend. And that's a really interesting event because it's going to be happening in London and Los Angeles at the same time, the weekend of September 17th through 19th. And I will be speaking 2 days that weekend. That is at the LAX Hilton in Los Angeles. And there's a lot of really incredible speakers there. And to anyone who's physically watching the show right now, you can see me on the speaker lineup right here. I'll be speaking 2 days over that weekend, which I don't know why they put me on for 2 days. I didn't ask that, but I very much appreciate it. It's going to be very interesting. And also they have a virtual section too, if you're interested in checking that out. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, it's going to be good to do an event in person. I haven't really done a lot of those lately, obviously, because of what's been going on over the last year. So if you're in the LA area or, in California or in the West, I definitely recommend going out and making a trip to that. Sorry, I just got a little distracted because I'm looking at the site here. And the site is consciouslifeexpo.com, but it's saying that they are requiring vaccination proof or a negative COVID test. I guess that's where things are going these days here in LA, unfortunately. It is what it is. But hey, getting a COVID test, that's not too hard to do. At least they're not saying, hey, we only need proof of vaccination. Then I would be upset. I think you know what I mean there. Okay, also, I want to share this really fascinating article that I just found last night. Tonight's show, normally my shows kind of get into the UFO topic and delve into that. Tonight's show won't really be going much into that, but I am going to put some UFOs in here for you all. And because I found this amazing article someone shared with me yesterday, and I figured it'd be great to share this with all of you. And this is a UFO crash debris being studied at Stanford. And this is on giantfreakingrobot.com, which is actually kind of like a legit like science website. It sounds kind of crazy, but it really is like a science and tech website. And so apparently there is UFO debris being studied at Stanford. So let me get into this article a bit here. According to a report from Science News, metal debris from an alleged UFO crashes going as far back as 1947, gathered by ufologist Dr. Jacques Vallée, are being studied by Stanford microbiologist Dr. Gary Nolan. Dr. Nolan is using a process called multiplexed ion beam imaging to create three-dimensional images, allowing for the examination of the metal down to its atomic level. For nature, the process has previously been used to study tumors, particularly in the cases of breast cancer. What Dr. Nolan found surprised him, and first Nolan said he and his colleagues could confirm the supposed UFO material was manufactured as opposed to naturally occurring. Second, and most surprisingly, Nolan said the material's composition was not like any known metal. He added that the ratio of isotopes in the metal doesn't make sense, as far as our current understanding is concerned. Dr. Nolan did clarify that what he's seen in the purported UFO remnants does not prove the material is a product of a technology developed on another planet. Rather, it proves only that someone has developed a process of manufacturing metal most scientists do not yet understand. This isn't the only story to come out in the past year about discoveries related to alleged UFO metals. In February, ufologist Anthony Bragalia revealed he'd used a clever loophole to get otherwise unobtainable documents from the Pentagon, using the Freedom of Information Act. Braglia requested documentation not on UFO crashes, but on the metal alloy nitinol, a metal that can remember its shape and return to it by being heated. The documents Braglia received were heavily redacted, but he believes they reveal nitinol was first discovered in the 1947 Roswell UFO crash. UFO news has quickly become something seen as reserved either for conspiracy theorists or supermarket tabloids into mainstream news, and for good reason. The evidence that UFOs exist seems incontrovertible at this point. At the end of August, 60 Minutes' Bill Whitaker filed a story in which he interviews not only naval pilots with stories of UFO encounters, but with military intelligence operative Louis Elizondo. Okay, the rest of this article I think we all pretty much understand. So yeah, that's really fascinating. I mean, they're really coming out and saying that they are studying crashed UFO debris. It's amazing how much this is coming into the mainstream, and disclosure is really ramping up this year. So really fascinating to see, definitely. Renee Cruz here. I'm looking in my comments on one of the platforms here, and Renee Cruz says, "Hello, Apollo. Saw you on KGRA yesterday. That's so awesome. I'm so glad you were there, Renee. And yeah, it's good to be doing these new radio platforms. I'm having a lot of fun with it." So like I said, tonight's show is also streamed on Aftermath. So if you're watching on YouTube, please go ahead and download Aftermath, download the app, and check out the shows because there's a lot of amazing show hosts on this platform. So also, before we get into this with Cathleena Hailley, I want to go ahead and read to you the Wikipedia description of Hiroscomos, because I'm assuming a lot of you are probably wondering what that is. So I'll go ahead and read the Wikipedia description, and then she's going to get into the work she is actually doing with it. So Hiroscomos is a sacred marriage that plays out between a god and a goddess, especially when enacted in a symbolic ritual where human participants represent the deities. The notion of Hiroscomos does not always presuppose literal sexual intercourse in ritual, but also is used in purely symbolic or mythological context, notably in alchemy and hence in Jungian psychology. Hiroscomos is described as the prototype of fertility rituals. And so there's a lot about this. Also it seems to relate a lot to twin flame connections. But Cathleena Hailley here, oh my God, this woman just does some really incredible work. She's probably one of the most tapped in, intuitive people I have ever met. And so I'm excited to bring her on here and explain how she uses this Hiroscomos archetype to help people and, work with them energetically. So introducing Cathleena Hailley.
Hello.
Cathleena, it's good to see you again.
Nice to see you too, Apolla. Thank you. And I will say, give a shout out to your spears. I did hold them, and being a frequency alchemist, I can tell you that there's a tremendous amount of energy with them. So I highly recommend that people check them out. So
thank you. I really appreciate that.
For sure.
And you have some amazing instruments as well.
I
do you have any of those you can pull up to show the audience right now?
Only if I step over and grab it.
Okay. Well, if you want to, feel free.
Let me grab it real quick. I'll grab one just to show you. All right. This is called a frequency adjuster. And this is a Arcturian technology. Actually, I downloaded this a couple of years ago, and this creates the 0 point for what's called the human template. And so this, when you align your energy to this, this will bring the 0 point, or the 0 point is the no thing and the all possibilities. It's really your pure God presence. So this will align you with that, with all your body systems, your chakra systems, your pure connection to God and the earth. And so I have, this is for the human template. And then there's another one I have on a t-shirt for the earth template. And that's a whole other discussion, but they can find that on my CathleenaHailley.com website, unless you want to go into the UFO part.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually don't think I felt the advice for a little bit. I was able to hold it, and it was definitely really incredible, the energy coming from that. And so you go around the world burying those in sacred places around the world, sacred sites.
I have actually. Well, I would like to be able to go all around the world. Yeah, I actually haven't been able to personally, but I did recently on 8/8 actually have one that's been put in a cross ley line point in the Netherlands, and it's a new emperor dragon line. And what I'm understanding about that particular one is that what this does is this creates a neutrality. But it's not just a neutral, it actually, creating the 0 point means that it allows for all possibilities to occur. And so in this particular location, Netherlands, it's a new line kind of crossing an old line. So it's creating an expansion of the authentic energies, and it's sort of neutralizing the non-authentic ones. So it's pretty powerful in the different ways in which I'm guided to do it. Either it's expanding authentic frequencies in certain areas, or it's kind of negating ones that are not in the highest and best for humanity. But there is a lot. It's a little bit more involved than that. But yeah, and this ties to the Hiroscomos actually.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know if you want to get into a little bio of yourself and what exactly you do before going into that. I know I left it in the description for the audience.
Sure.
But yeah, maybe if you want to go ahead and give the audience a little bio before we get into it.
Sure. Well, I'm considered a frequency alchemist, and what that represents is I have the way that I chose to incarnate. I carry with me the 0 point, which is the no thing and the all possibilities of all frequencies. And so, how I kind of work is that I see what's called the human template, and I actually refer to it as a templet, P-L-E-T, because there's more than one. There's lots of different templates that we have, and so I'm able to engage in those and kind of look at those and help remove any distortions or frequencies that are not authentic or that are in ranges of like fear and judgment and a lot of different. There's just so many programs that are going on. So what I do is that I step in, I see this template, and anything that's out of alignment, basically with you, we adjust, move, shift, and then bring in things that are in alignment. And I also have been brought here to work with the grid systems and the earth. And so it's really like I'm all frequency is basically the way it is. I see a lot of sacred geometry and understand geometry as language because we're consciousness. And so how consciousness communicates is through geometry. And so I understand that. I work with it. I'm not just arbitrarily talking. There's actually energies and frequencies moving. So anybody who's listening, we're already working with a lot of that, and I can even do a little bit of something at the end if you want, because I have stepped into whatever's in the highest and best for the audience.
That would be amazing. And for everyone out there, when I was at Camp Disclosure with Cathleena here 2 weekends ago, there, I was definitely feeling some weird energy at the beginning, and so was a couple other people I was with, and we just sat down at the table and had a conversation one morning with Cathleena here. And I don't know what it was, but it completely changed my whole outlook on the whole weekend. And I felt it was like a crazy shift. I feel it was definitely you that caused that. And a lot of other people came up to me and told me the same thing. So she is definitely the real deal. And her talks were so incredible.
Yeah. Well, and I will say that, that's just really testament to the law of one, because I'm you, you're me, we're one. And just showing up. Yeah, I show up as, the greatest embodiment of pure source of what you are, we are. And that's what it is. It's like what's happening right now. You're probably feeling it's coming into that alignment. And that's just what we do. It's being able to show up as pure source that we all are, so that we can feel that. And there's this great desire to align to that, because it's a high moving frequency. It's love. It's joy, it's excitement, and we like that. So given the opportunity to let go of everything that isn't that and to step into that, it actually feels good. So that's what happened. You step in and we go, ooh, let's just go in this lovely place of joy, and it feels good. So yeah, beautiful.
Definitely. Oracle of the South commented here. Jessica, and she said, "Hi, Apolla and Cathleena, great show. Camp D in the house. Cathleena changed my life too."
Oh, lovely. Yay. Hello.
So getting into the Hierogamos, is it an archetype? Is that the way you describe it? The Hiroscomos archetype, or how exactly would you describe the Hiroscomos?
Well, when I'm thinking of and referring to the Hiroscomos, I'm referring to the divine union of masculine and feminine energies and frequencies as source energy. So, because one of the largest ways that humanity has been distorted is to have the separation of the masculine and feminine energies within every human being. because we are all the masculine and feminine. And the way in which I understand masculine and feminine is the mental masculine energy and frequency is basically the blueprint or the design of whatever the creation. So it would be the sort of container. And then the feminine spiritual is the creator or the creation itself. So having those two in balance means that, we're fully embodied as our God sovereign self with the full awareness that that's who I am and the ability to create based on who I am. And that's the idea of that full balance within humanity and with all things too. That's that 0 point. And the 0 point is not zero. The 0 point is the frequency of no thing and all possibilities. And when we are one with that, we are literally one as pure God, pure multidimensional self in physical body, which is what we're here to do, to create and have, an authentic experience from that place.
That's really incredible. That I definitely feel is coming up in the collective a lot lately. How do we balance these energies between the divine masculine and the divine feminine? There's definitely been an imbalance in society over the past, we went through this patriarchal society for the past, at least a couple thousand years or so. And I feel that we're transitioning back to a matriarchal society. But that aside, I feel that humans just, most people in general seem to have a bit of a hard time understanding what it means to be balanced between being the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. I've noticed that, obviously there's like these kind of fake feminist movements that are coming out and just kind of warping the idea of what the divine feminine really is. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, how exactly do you balance your divine masculine, divine feminine energies, and what exactly do you feel like the divine masculine and divine feminine energies represent in you? Like, what would be defined as a divine masculine, divine feminine ability, I guess?
Yeah. Well, again, when I'm experiencing in this whole patriarchal aspect of society, that is more mental. And so that's what we're really looking at from an energetic perspective. The masculine frequency is mental, and the divine feminine is spiritual or coming from the heart, although the balance is really in the heart itself. But the aspect of divine feminine in energetic is associated with heart presence versus mind presence. And so, but again, it's important to understand that it's not that all men are mental energy, and this is and they're not in the heart. That's the game that's being played by identifying this. We're talking about simply energetic, and we as consciousness. So we are all a very unique expression of source. Source is consciousness energy, which is information, and source knew itself conceptually, the concept of itself, but it didn't know itself experientially. So it wanted to have an experience, so it expressed out of itself aspects, and that's what we are. We are aspects of expression of source, each individual. So we are this energy, and that energy consists of mental masculine, spiritual feminine, and so it's like a blueprint design of what that is that's considered the masculine mental aspect, and then the feminine is the energetic spiritual aspect. And when those two are in balance within the heart structure of the human, then we are in that full resonance as source. And if we create from that space, then that's considered being in pure experience. But what we've been experiencing, there's most people probably who are listening to this and have an awareness of the energies that have been playing out in what we refer to as the false matrix. And those particular energies only know mental. This is where they're from. They're designed to only know mental energy. So they've guided humanity to use mental energy to basically feed the machine, so to speak. And this is this patriarchal aspect. This is this idea of, always using the mind and not being in the heart. Forget the emotions and use the mind. So that's where that distortion has been. And then what you're seeing in some of the, like you're talking about the feminist movement, it's still coming from the mind, but it just happens to be in a female body. But that's still playing the game of the distortion. It's not in the heart. So it's not about whether you're biologically necessarily male or female. It's the divine masculine, feminine understanding of what these are, and the balance, bringing your consciousness from the mind into the heart. So it's like thinking from the heart, in what you're doing. That's where the balance shows up.
I definitely feel that. When you were speaking now, I was just thinking, I've done a lot of studying of heart math, and they were saying that there's actually scientists have found that we have neurons in our heart too. So that came up for me when you were talking about that, and I found that very interesting. But I definitely feel with the divine feminine energy is definitely intuition and kind of feeling and being intuitive. And I always like to joke on my show. I bring this up a lot on my show, and I always like to joke, like, that's why your mom always knows everything. It's so true. It definitely is. But, it's like people tend to forget, like, if you're feminine, that doesn't mean that you can't have the divine masculine energy in you, or if you're masculine, that doesn't mean that you don't have the divine feminine energy in you. So, it's interesting being able to balance those energies out. And how do you recommend someone balances those and creates a perfect balance in their life? Like, what does that feel like when someone really steps into that perfect balance?
Well, it's when you are in the present moment without judgment. And so it literally is allowing everything to be brand new, because it is. I mean, the only real time is the now. I mean, that's it. And to be without any judgment is allowing, that's where the balance is, because without judgment, I am my pure God self. I am, because I automatically am divine balance of Hiroscomos, because I'm God consciousness in physical form. It's just I've forgotten that. And so I feel, it's like if I engage as something, whether I'm engaging as male or female, or some archetype of I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a whatever, whatever I'm engaging in, if I'm identifying with that, and then I'm creating judgments in relationship to that, then I'm not in the balance of the Hiroscomos. So when I'm actually surrendered and in the now moment without any judgment, and if you could add to like that childlike exploration, excitement, exhilaration, joy, that's really when you're at that balance of that Hiroscomos. You're fully, your God sovereign self in the now moment, engaging one as, with the earth, because we're not on the earth, we're one with the earth. And we're engaging in the authentic frequencies that we're meant to engage here, which is love, truth, beauty, and goodness. And those are the resonance frequencies of this divine experiment called Earth. And so, when we're in that now moment without judgment, that's when we're in that balance of that divine masculine feminine, based on, the blueprint, the design, and the creation. So we're, we've got those two in full resonance with each other, in full resonance with source. And we engage our consciousness with that, and we're ready to create from us, from why we're here, in the fullness of our full expression. That's how simple. And I say this a lot, it's really simple and really hard at the same time, because you say it so simply, it's like, well, just let go. Just be yourself. It's really all we have to do. which I admire you. You're very much yourself. So I love that. You step in, you just show up. It's great. And, but we get pushed and pulled and so on. And we have all these, and a lot of that is because it's energy, right? We're energy and frequency. And all we're doing in human existence is matching frequencies in order to be comfortable. And so you want to think about frequencies as something very simple. Think about frequencies as emotions. And just by natural law, faster moving frequencies always try to raise slower ones up. So an example of this matching frequency would be, if I'm happy and you're mad and we come around each other, as long as I maintain my happy, you only have two choices. You either meet me at happy, because it's about matching, or you go away. But, how many times have we been around somebody, you're happy and they're mad, and they're not happy till you're mad, right? Because it's that matching, right?
That's interesting. I always really noticed that when I did energy healing classes, when I was doing my quantum touch energy work certifications a few years back, my teacher warned me of this. They're like, okay, we're going to get really charged up during this class. You got to be careful when you get home, because your energy might kind of cause people to react around you. And every time I did a weekend workshop with any kind of energy workshop, as soon as I got home, it was like everyone that was around me, like my roommates and everything, they all just instantly reacted off my energy. And I'm like, this is so crazy. It's interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, it's true, because you'll irritate them if you're happy and they're not. And so, because it's like a bump, it'll cause them to try to raise up. But now that there's so much energy that is vibrating at a lot faster rates, we can find that match a lot easier. Well, here's another interesting thing when you talk about, the Hiroscomos, which is coming into that divine balance. And basically what's occurring is that in this whole ascension process, we are not ascending, the body is, because we are fifth dimensional or higher beings, and we just have forgotten that. So we're already vibrating at these higher rates, and it's really more of an ascension, because what we're doing is we are embodying all that we are, our true God consciousness that is being embodied in this physical body. But the physical body has been vibrating at the denser, lower rates. So as you engage more of your consciousness within the body, you're basically going to irritate your body, because the body's vibrating at a different rate as well, which is often why you get disturbances and muscle aches and different things that go on the body. And so what people tend to do is then they go and they want to, fix it and replace it. And all that does is that stops sort of that expansion of your own light within your body. So if you just realize that that's kind of what's going on, and just like I would encourage you to do if you went to a class and you raise your frequency and then you go home and your roommates, are upset, I would encourage you to simply just not embody their reaction, just simply be in an observation, and you're just holding your light. Well, that's the same thing that you do within your own self, is that you don't become the energies that are trying to show up, because they're like leaving, so that's part of it. The other part is recognizing that they're going to be sort of leaving your body. That means they're going to be seeking a match outside of you. So you also may unintentionally draw to you now people that are going to cause you problem, do whatever, because you're releasing that from your body. And so again, it's important. That's why this 0 point, we talk about that a lot, being in that now moment without judgment allows you to be in that 0 point to continue to engage more of your light, and just simply be in an observation of like, oh yeah, this is going on, but kind of being in that neutral, in that very divine neutral, as we continue to do that, these things then will shift and dissipate. But there's a lot more to that, but it's, I think you're getting the gist of it, right?
Yeah, I think it's so interesting that the people that kind of collect around you where you're at vibrationally, it always tends to collect certain people of the same vibration around you. And I always notice when I go through a certain shift with myself vibrationally, because I notice it's like, when that happens, a lot of the people that are normally around me at the time would leave, and kind of new people will come into my life. You can always really tell when that change happens, and it's so interesting.
Exactly. And that's something to embrace, not to freak out about, because a lot of people will do that, and they'll different relationships, even clothes that you wear, because everything's frequency and vibration. So,
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about it like that.
Oh yeah, everything. Yeah. What you wear, what you do. I mean, I'm getting ready to move because I'm, the vibration's changing for me, and it's, getting to be time. And so, just being okay with it. That's the other part of when you talk about balancing this divine masculine and feminine. It's about allowing yourself to truly be who you are. And part of that is change and shift in frequency and energy. And, when we freak out or we get, holding or any of that, that's you're out of balance if there's any of that. Any holding. And one thing that's really interesting about that is that everything that, we don't like about what's going on now, it's only here because we believe it. The energy that's actually created or is in charge of whatever is appearing to go on, in the world, all these things that we don't like. That energy at the actual source of where it is. I mean, there's humans following this guidance from their galactic energies, right? And so, there are humans that are following, but at the kind of top level of the galactic energy, they don't create, they can't. So they've just convinced humanity to do it. And how do we create? It's what we believe we see. So it's that we believe it, so therefore we see it, and we're engaging it. And how are we doing that? We're doing that by shrinking our light. And so by shrinking our light, we're basically feeding the machine the energy, all the denser energies outside of us. So, the more that you let go, the more that you surrender to the now moment, the more that you allow yourself to actually engage in what you want, what you like in yourself, you're disengaging from all that you don't like. And if humanity did that, it would be gone. It would just dissolve.
I really noticed this earlier in the year, around a little after the whole January 6th event. I was actually going to a lot of the rallies in DC leading up to that event, because I just really felt that there was fraud going on with the elections, and I felt very it just like I really felt like I needed to be a part of all of it. And it definitely was like affecting me in a major way, because I just got so involved with it all. And after that whole event, I had to really take a step back and realize, like, I was just taking in all this information. And it was kind of like a complete like shift happened with me, where I realized, like, I was just spending all my time like looking at how the route that the world was going in and being worried about it, and to kind of in a way almost taking it all on my own shoulders, like me and a lot of my friends were going to these events. And I realized, once you turn off the news and you don't really, and you step into your own world, like I had to shut off all my news. Like, I had to stop looking at my shows that I watched on YouTube, and I had to just sit down and like work on my art for like a week, just work on Spears. And it was it was like, okay, if you're not looking at all of this that's going on in the world, then it doesn't even affect you. It's so interesting. It's so fascinating how that happens. And it's like people tend to get caught up and worried about what's happening. And I think also the idea of like many realities happening simultaneously is such a real thing. Like, if you're putting energy towards a certain event, or certain things that are happening, you're going to end up in the reality that it's like a self-fulfilled prophecy. It's like you see all this happening, you're going to end up in that reality. But if you kind of put your energy into things that are really resonating with you and that are true to you, then you're not going to end up in that reality. I mean, what do you think about these different realities happening simultaneously? Is that something that you feel has been happening over the past year, especially with different groups of people?
I feel like that people are in different timelines of energy, and it is based on your belief systems. And I think that's why, again, being in the 0 point and just simply disengaging, and it's not like burying your head in the sand. An example might be, somebody say they don't know where their money's coming from, and they genuinely don't know where their money's coming from. Well, there's a choice between going, oh my God, and freaking out and zipping through your mind of whatever limits and limitations and belief systems that you've been given, which is all that matrix and all those timelines that are keeping you in that really narrow, view of what's possible and all of that stuff. Or you could simply say, well, no, I don't know. And just be in the 0 point in your body without judgment, just like, okay, well, you're right. Well, in this moment, I don't know. And the thing is that we don't really realize that, again, that's not zero. It's not empty. It is the all. So when you can surrender and just simply say, okay, sure, that may be my awareness right now, but you have to realize this body is everything. This is the millionaire. This is the relationship. This is everything, because I'm consciousness engaging in a physical reality here, this physical, in order to create. So everything is here. Everything of how I feel, whatever energy and frequency is vibrating here is what I'm matching out there. It's not the other way around. So, that's the idea of shifting timelines and disengaging. And the whole reason you want to disengage from those energies and frequencies, it's the energy and frequency, is so that I'm not matching that. I'm not creating that. And if I want to actually be a conscious creator, then I want to drop into that 0 where there's no judgment. I'm in the absolute brand new present moment, and I'm going to engage my consciousness within that. Then I will have guidance, and I will have, physical steps or whatever to create whatever it is that is for me, in the reality of my existence and my life and my participation here. And so, yes, and in that way, I'm on the timeline of my soul's path, and why I'm meant to be here, not being guided into a timeline loop or, like a consciousness trap and an area of this matrix that's, it's like, think about it, everything is like this giant video game, which is literally what it is. And there's a difference between you feeling that you are the character in the game and versus realizing that I'm the one that is engaging the character in the game. And those are two very different ways of doing it. And what you realized is that you are the one engaging the character, and you stopped, letting your character run havoc, in all these energies that was causing you to feel engaged in that. And that's what's called quantum entanglement. You hear the term quantum entanglement a lot. And what that is that's really forgetting that you're God consciousness, and that as God consciousness, you came here to have an experience, and you can choose to have it or not have it. But when we have the quantum entanglement, that's when we forget we're God and we become the experience. I become this energy of like, oh my God, I don't know where my money is and I'm freaking out, and I forget that I'm God in that crazy energy. And I can go, you know what? I really just don't want that experience anymore. And it really is that simple. You can go, no, I'm not interested in fear. I'm really not. And I say it all the time. I'm like, no, I'm not interested. I'm just not. And so
I love that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you can just do that.
Yeah. Like you said, it's really so simple. All these things you're saying is really just, a shift in the way you think about everything. And it's so simple, and yet it's so hard to wrap your mind around sometimes.
Well, that's because if you, what makes it really simple is if you can command your thoughts into your heart. And I literally would do that. I command my thoughts into my heart. I command my thoughts into my heart. I command my thoughts into my heart. And so that way, we're taking that whole mental frequency and dropping it into the heart where the divine feminine is. And so now I'm coming into that Hiroscomos. And I'm actually, because I'm settling into my God consciousness and feel it. It's very different. If your thoughts are going haywire, that's the difference between what I just described about if you don't know where your money is and you're freaking out, that's because the mind's going havoc. But if you drop into your heart with that, then it's just like, oh yeah, I don't know. Oh well, I don't know. I guess I'll figure it out. And that's really different, right? Than, my mind, like racing around looking for an answer or a solution with things that already are given. So there's no creating there. Remember, we are conscious creators. We're amazing. We're God in form, and we've forgotten. So we're just being reminded.
That is so beautiful. I love your message about, that we are all one, and we are all source, and these different emanations of source energy. Also, I really love that your message is so much about authenticity. I think that's really beautiful. And I think that's so important. And while you're if you want to say something to that, I just realized I need to plug my laptop in before it dies. So
Sure.
I'll let you have the floor for a minute.
Sure. Let you do what you need to do there. What I can do, I don't know how much time we have, but I would like to do a little bit of just a balancing of this Hieros, Gamos, and a clearing for anybody who is listening at the moment. So if you want, we can kind of step into this and create a little bit of energy here. I don't know if you can hear me at the moment, Apolla, but I'm going to step in. And I think we have just a couple minutes, right, left?
Yeah, about 10, 15
well, let's
minutes
just
left.
do a quick balancing for everybody here. As I'm going to step in, I feel like it would be good to, with the collective energy is really amped up right now, I think, with a lot of things going on. And there's, with all of the, things that we won't mention on here that are going on in the world that are causing people a lot of distress. So what I would like to do is just step in and create a sense of that 0 point and that balance just for a minute. So if that works out, seeing what's there. Okay, so shall we?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. So,
I could not find my laptop charger, so I hope this lasts the rest.
That's all right. We have 10 minutes. Hopefully it won't.
Okay.
All right. So everybody who is listening, just close your eyes, take some deep breaths. I do make sounds and do different things, so just kind of go with it, because I'm going to step into all of your energy right now. Everybody take a nice deep breath. I'm going to clear through the digestion, which is really where a lot of emotions are happening. There's a lot of people here. And I'm going to spin through the solar plexus and clear out the false archetypes and the confusion of identification, of limits and limitations. I'm going to expand that out and take out those frequencies of limits, limitations, and victim-victimizer frequencies. Take a deep breath. I'm going to disengage some of this mind. It's a mind control frequency of, again, it's limits, limitations, fear. Disengage fear. Disengage this on all levels. Mental, spiritual, physical, etheric. That's it. Breathing and allowing. Clearing through the digestion a little more. I'm going to bring you into this divine Hiroscomos 0 point now within the heart. See everything and the nothing. I'm going to bring in divine source. I'm going to bring in very high frequency of divine source around you in a field. So as we're going to allow that to recalibrate within your being, to bring you into a place of calm and light and disengage the fight or flight frequencies. Bringing you into divine clarity, calmness. I'm going to bring in the 18th dimensional diamond collective of water to also flush through the system, to bring in more divine clarity. Just to calm down all of the body systems. There we go. Perfect. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just going to bring all this into this now moment. We're imagining these energetic roots coming through your legs, wrapping around the core of the earth, pulling all this down into this now moment into your heart. Let's take a breath and when you're ready and have a drink of water. You can open your eyes. See how you feel.
That was so beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Definitely felt that.
Yeah.
Giraffe here says, OMG, it's amazing. I'm vibrating.
Yay. Beautiful. Yeah, you're going to feel that for a while. I really brought that pretty fast in and just really cleared. So that's that's like a divine clarity, and that's going to continue to everybody who's listening. So it's beautiful.
Well, I really appreciate you doing that clearing for us. That's so amazing. It looks like we have about 5 minutes left. So is there any final words you would like to wrap up this show with before I close everything out?
Well, I want to say that you are a divine light being, and I love you, and I think you're amazing. And so I hope everybody watches you and you continue. I think you have a lot to bring, and I love it. And I hope they all buy all your spheres, and thank you for having me. And I really just encourage everybody to know that they are amazing. I am you, you are me, we are one. And, that is the law of one. And that, you're not alone, and you're loved and you're supported, your God consciousness. And just know that. And I hope you feel it. That's what I'll leave with.
It looks like everyone in here is saying they definitely felt that. So I think everyone definitely feels it. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on here. It's been amazing having you as a guest, and definitely would love to have you on as a more regular guest for future shows. So,
yeah, anytime.
And that Colorado trip. So me and Cathleena here are talking about doing a Colorado adventure. So. Yeah. It's like that may happen next month. If that's the case, I'll definitely be filming that. So I like to do some little investigative adventures with my YouTube show. So doing these radio shows now, that's going to mean that I'll probably be doing more like edited stuff just to throw on my YouTube platform. So to my radio guests out there, please check out my YouTube platform, Apolla's Odyssey, and go ahead and subscribe to me on there. And to those of you that are on YouTube, go ahead and download the Aftermath app, because there's a lot of amazing radio hosts on the app. I definitely recommend it. Cathleena, is there anywhere anyone can find you to book sessions?
Yeah, sure. CathleenaHailley.com. And it's CathleenaHailley.com. I don't know if we just lost Apolla, because I think her computer might have died. So I'm not sure if we're still live, or I think we are. And also, I have a YouTube channel as well, and that's Cathleena Hailley. So thank you, everybody. I guess we'll end because she's got a couple minutes here. I think her computer is probably not going to come back on, but I really appreciate being here. And, I'm really happy that everybody was able to show up and be here. And I don't know what else to say. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We just have a couple minutes left, so I wish I could take questions. I don't know if anybody is still here, if they're still listening. There's a lot of energy here. I do suggest that everybody drink a lot of water, and also you might want to add minerals to your water. It's needed nowadays, a tremendous amount of water. So I definitely would recommend that. Ah, there you go.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. I wasn't sure. I feel like I'm just kind of rambling a little bit.
I'm so sorry for that. Okay. It's unfortunate because actually the radio show was only streamed through my laptop, so that kind of got cut off there.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't have my charger with me. For some reason, that didn't end up in my bag on my way to the studio, so sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and close out. So just before I leave here tonight, please go ahead again and check out my art, Shaman Spears. That is at www.shamanspears.com. And go ahead and check that out, because I have a lot of amazing art up there. My spears, which are uniquely handcrafted energy channeling devices, are all up on the site, and I will be selling those at the Conscious Life Expo and Disclosure Con. So if you would like the rest of the Odyssey collection, make sure you go ahead and check that out. This is so funny being on my phone right now, but it works, I guess.
Okay, whatever works, that's good. And I will, say that I would definitely get one of her spears, because they're very powerful. I felt them myself, and I highly recommend them.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for being on here, Cathleena. I really appreciated it. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining the show tonight. So until next time on Apolla's Odyssey, over and out.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See you next Tuesday and next Wednesday.